Hey, my name is Matt. Welcome to Ranking Tactics. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to use my SEO blog writing feature inside of ZimmWriter, my AI content writer, to write a blog post that incorporates up to 150 different long tail SEO keywords. It's really cool. I can't wait to demonstrate it for you. Now, this is going to be a longer video because I want to take you step by step through the process. Now, if you don't have a copy of ZimmWriter, you're going to need one for the video unless you just like watching videos and following along. You're going to need a copy of ZimmWriter. In the description below, there's a link. At that link, you can get both a subscription to ZimmWriter or a lifetime deal. There's a limited lifetime deal I'm running right now. Take advantage of it before it expires, okay? So let's switch screens and let's jump into my desktop. Now, this is ZimmWriter. We're going to be spending the majority of our time in the SEO blog writing feature. And we're going to write an article about how to keep deer out of your garden. Now, I had actually written this article yesterday using ZimmWriter, the SEO feature of it, and we scored 100% optimization in it. And so I want to replicate this process. I want to show you how I did this, okay? Now, I don't know who you are. I don't know your background. Maybe you're an SEO expert. Maybe you are the definitive authority on SEO. Or maybe you run an agency and you've done it for many years. You know SEO very well. Or maybe you don't even know what SEO is. Maybe you're like, SEO, what in the world does that mean? If that last one's you, if you don't even know what SEO is, you need to go take an SEO course, okay? There's a lot of stuff you can do in ZimmWriter, but I would not recommend playing around with the SEO blog writer if you don't know SEO. I highly recommend the Authority Hacker Guys course, Mark Webster and Gail Brenton. Great guys. I followed their podcast forever, listened forever. Phenomenal course, phenomenal guys. Definitely check them out. The community is great. I'm not affiliated with them anyways. I just like to promote people that I really like, and they're great guys, okay? So take their course, learn about SEO, and then come back here and then use this tool, because you're just gonna hurt yourself if you try to use this and don't know anything about SEO. Now, let's talk first of all about these scores, because I took this article, I wrote this article, and I pasted it into Frase, and I got 100%. Frase is telling me this is 100% SEO optimized. But I took the same article and I pasted it into Surfer. And Surfer says it's 71% optimized. So, what's going on? Is this thing going to rank? Is it not going to rank? We've got to take a step back for a second. Ranking is a whole lot more than just content on a page, okay? Google looks at hundreds of different factors to determine where to rank your website, where to rank your particular article. And it's not just the words on the page. Now, the words on the page play a significant factor in ranking. How to keep a deer out of your garden. You write that article, but the entire content of it is about tying your shoes. I guarantee you're not going to rank for how to keep a deer out of your garden, because Google is smart enough to know that an article about how to keep a deer out of your garden better talk about keeping a deer out of your garden. If it just talks about tying your shoes, you are not going to rank. So the words play a significant factor. All right, but let's assume everybody in the top 20 results is talking about the same thing. We're all hitting on the same points. They're all saying plant deer resistant plants. They're all saying fencing solutions. They don't have the exact same words, but they're touching on the same points. How does Google rank a website then? If everybody's saying the same stuff, how does Google say, this website deserves to be at result number 1? This website deserves to be at result number 20. There's more factors that go into ranking a website than just the words on the page. Backlinks play a major factor, how authoritative a website is. If you're in a your money, your life niche, EAT is huge. If you start writing an article about what supplements to take to lose weight or to cure cancer, heaven forbid, man, you better have a lot of citations. And your author better be a doctor with a PhD that's worked at the CDC, because you start making those kind of claims and Google surfaces those results to number 1 and somebody relies on that and dies. That's a big problem. So there's so much more that goes into ranking than words on the page, but words on the page matter. They're one piece in the puzzle, but they matter. So talking about these words on the page, why is Frase at 100% and Surfer is at 71%? What does that mean? Does that mean Surfer's bad and Frase is good, or Frase is bad and Surfer's good? What's going on here? Any tool you get, whether it's MarketMuse or Frase or Surfer or NeuronWriter, they're all going to give different recommendations, because Google, no one knows what Google's algorithm is. These tools are all guessing at that. Surfer is making their best educated guess. And Surfer is one of the top tools in the market. Thousands of people, I don't know their numbers, maybe hundreds of thousands of people use Surfer, and they rank content with Surfer, okay? So Surfer is relying on what they have determined to be important criteria, and they'll score you based on that criteria. And a lot of that criteria deals with what long tails you're using and how frequently you're using those long tails in your content. Frase is the exact same way. Frase is they're going out to the top 20 SERP, they're bringing in the top 20 results, they're using natural language processing on all those results to determine which long tails you need to put into your article. And they're also looking at what keywords to put in your headings. They're looking at short tails. And they're also looking at where to go, word count, number of headings, number of images, links. All these pieces go into these companies' proprietary algorithms to determine a resulting optimization score. So just because this says 100 and this says 70 doesn't make this tool better than this tool or this tool better than this tool. These are both professional tools used by professional people. Now, which one should you use? What should you do? Should you keep writing your article or should you stop here? That's completely your decision. Okay. I'm not here to tell you what to do. That's your decision. If you feel uncomfortable about that, again, you need to go take an SEO course and get your feet wet and start ranking content. So enough with the primer on SEO and understanding these tools. What I want to do is I want to write it again using the SEO long tail keywords that we get from Frase. We'll put it into both tools. We'll see what we score. I'll show you exactly how to do all that and give you some pointers along the way. What we need to do first is take our title. We're going to open up ZimmWriter and open up the SEO blog writer, and we want to put in the title. Now, after you have your title in, you need some different headings, some H2 headings. What do you put in here? Do you just fill them out, or do you use the AI? Maybe this is your niche because you chose it because this is what you do. You hunt deer, you keep a garden, you are the definitive resource on keeping deer out of your garden. If that's you, you don't know just 15 ways to keep deer out of your garden. You know 100 different ways, and you're going to put the top 15 in here. But I know nothing about keeping deer out of my garden. I can't keep deer out of my garden. And you might not know how to do that either. So there's two options if we don't know what to do. First option is we can just use the AI. We can click this method 2 button right here. And the AI is just going to use its own knowledge to try to answer this question. What headings should we include? So the AI said, understand deer habits, plant deer resistant species, install physical barriers, use fencing and netting. Some pretty good stuff in here. Now, I don't know if there's better suggestions. I don't know. We can regenerate it all if we want to. We can click this button again. ZimmWriter will go to work again, call the OpenAI, and try to give us some more ideas. And you can do this as many times as you want to do. You can go in here too, and you can say, you know what, I like all these, but I don't like this one. I'm going to delete this one. Okay. And we can run with that. We can leave this heading empty right here. The AI will know that this is empty and will skip over it. Everything will be perfectly fine. Or you can fill in something else you want. Shoot the deer. Sorry, all you people that don't like shooting deers, but yeah, you could shoot the deer, right? So we've looked at how to create these headings manually, and we've looked at how to use AI to create them. The other way we can do it is to marriage AI with SEO. Now, the most common way to do this, and this common way only works for competitive search queries, is to look at the different headings that the competition has. So these tools, Frase and SERP, will look at what the top 20 results have for their subheadings. And then you can bring some of those ideas in, bring some of those keywords into your article. Because the theory goes, if Google likes those top 20 results and it chose the number one result because it likes number one. I don't know if it's because it has the most backlinks. I don't know if it's because it has the perfect EAT, but it also might be because it best answers the user's search intent, so it has the right subheadings. So if we look at the subheadings spread across the top 20 results, and we bring those in, the AI could use that as a foundation, and that might be more helpful to writing a better article. Okay, that's the theory. Now, the other way to do that, if you don't have a competitive query, and the reason it only works with a competitive query is because when we go out to the SERP here, and inside of Frase, we can look at the SERP by clicking outline. That's one of the ways to do it. And we can look at the results. Deer-proof gardens, 4 surefire ways to keep deer out of your garden. Dad's trick to keep deer out of your garden. How to keep deer out of your garden. 11 ways to keep deer out of your garden. So all of these are about keeping deer out of your garden, which is good. Okay. Because if this result was not about keeping deer out of your garden, if this was not about keeping deer out of your garden, we would not want to use these subheadings to seed the AI because it would throw off the AI. If this article was about how to have a great summer barbecue, and we used these subheadings for our deer article, it would throw the AI off. So we want to make sure that we're selecting subheadings that are relevant. And if there's none in the SERP, because this is such a long tail, such a non-competitive query, 0 search volume, then doing what we're doing here is not recommended because it's not going to work. The other thing you can do, though, if the SERP is not competitive, is you can go find your own entities. And this is a very advanced SEO concept, but you're basically going to build your keyword map and maybe even build out different articles that you want to write. And you're going to put keywords in each of those article boxes. And you'll start building out that pillar content right there, that branching content off that pillar content. Very advanced concept, but that's possible too. So you can, if you know what I'm talking about, you can put those in here. But fortunately for us, we have a SERP that is pretty on point. We'll just go through this and look. Keep mule deer out of your garden, keep deer out of your garden, keep deer out of your garden. So all of the subheadings in here they at least seem like they're going to be relevant. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to export, and I'm going to export the SERP data. We'll get an Excel sheet. This is what's really nice about Frase. You get this nice little Excel sheet. There's a way to export the data in Surfer, but it's not as easy. Okay, so these are all of the headers across the top 20 results, or at least the results that Frase crawled. And we'll click on this column B, and I'll go to data, and I'll click on filter. And what we want to do is we want to filter out the H1s, and I want to filter out the H4s and H6s. I want to leave the H2s and H3s. If everything was done right, people should technically be putting all their stuff in their H2s and maybe have some branching subpoints in H3s. But people don't do that. So a lot of times you'll see stuff that should be an H2 as an H3. So we'll just select both of them so we can look. Now this is the very important step. We don't want to just take all of these keywords and paste it in to right here. You're not going to get good results. Furthermore, the limit on results in here is 150, okay? And we have 211. So this is the very important step, and I'm going to go step by step through this. This is going to be a longer video. I want to show you step by step how to do this. What we want to go and do is we want to take out the things that would not be a good subheading for how to keep deer out of your garden. Let's actually exit out of this. Let's clean it out. There we go. Nice. How keep deer out of your garden. Okay. So anything that could be a viable subheading for this article, we want to leave in. Anything that is not, we're going to take out. 4 tactics for deer-proof gardens. That would not be a relevant subheading. I want actual tactics. Choose deer-resistant garden plants. Perfect. Add in deer wart 2. Nope. Nope. So I'll go through this and I'll speed the video up so you can just watch me doing it in fast motion. All right, I'm getting near the end. I want to show you what I'm deleting to give you a little bit of help. So as an example, pets, I'm going to delete that because I don't know what pets it is. Are we talking about cats? Are we talking about dogs? Are we talking about something else? That's not helpful to me. A dog is much more helpful right here, okay? Let's see. Get fresh with Irish Spring. I think that's probably talking about soap, but I don't know if the AI will grasp that. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that. Get out your Halloween decor. That's nice, but I don't know what they're doing with that. What does that mean? We're going to scare away the deer? That's not relevant. That would just confuse the AI. FAQs, get rid of that. Featured image, no. Tall fence is great. Deer-resistant plants. I'm going to delete pets again. Halloween decor, same thing. Almost like a copied article. The war begins. It's not helpful. Stinkers, nasty flavors, deer scarers. Put it all together. Question and answers. Okay. So I think we have a pretty good list here of different heading keywords. Now, it doesn't matter that there's numbers in here. The AI will filter all that out for us. I think we have less than 150. So I'll go in here. I'll just paste this in just like that. Now I'll click try method 3. Now what's going to happen is the AI is going to use the data that we fed in here to better write subheadings. Okay, let's try it. Choose deer-resistant garden plants, create a physical barrier, place soap near outdoor plants, scatter human hair around. So we're getting a lot of results that the AI did not initially populate this with. And why this is relevant is if we're going to be using the long tail keywords suggested by the SERP, it's going to be much easier and much more relevant for the AI to be putting those long tail keywords in to concepts that were discussed in the SERP. Hope that makes sense. So I think we're good here. We're going to stick with this stuff. Now we get some options before we're going to get to the really fun stuff over here. I'm going to briefly talk about each of the options. I will have a separate video on each one of these and talk more in depth about it. Now there's a section length option. You can say short, medium, or long. Realize that the more stuff you select here, the less the AI will obey this criteria. So if you select short, but then you start checking all this stuff over here, it's going to turn into a long. So just be aware of that. The things that have the most influence on this are, are the T's. That usually adds a whole nother paragraph to each subsection. And then also the audience personality. Okay, so if you really want to try to maintain this, dial these down. But then also the keywords are going to possibly increase the length of the output you're getting to. So it's just really hard to kind of marriage all this stuff together. So that's our section length. Our voice, this is a very important setting. Normal is just based on what the AI thinks the material is. So if you're writing an article about taking care of a baby, you're probably going to get a lot of personal pronouns, probably not I. The GPT-3 doesn't use I a lot just by default, but you will get a more personal article with a lot of yous. But if you write a banking article or a law article, you might end up by default getting less personal pronouns. So you can help that out by selecting one of these options though. So very personal is going to tell the AI, please use a lot of yous and I's. Personal is going to just say to the AI, please use a lot of yous. And professional is going to say, please avoid using any personal pronouns. Now it's not guaranteed, and it's also, so your mileage will vary, and it's also dependent on the type of article you're writing. The AI, because it has a brain, naturally wants to write less professional about an article about how to take care of a baby and more professional about a law article. So by selecting the proper one for the proper type of article, you can dial that in even further. Now, literary devices is a really cool option. This is probably my favorite option out of anything. This is going to use 1 out of 600 different literary devices, metaphors, similes, onomatopoeias, figures of speech, tips. I forget all of the different ones. There's tons of them. And it's going to use them randomly. And it's not going to use them for every subheading. It's going to do that randomly too. To make something sound more human, there needs to be a lot of randomness in it and a lot of variation, but it also needs to sound human. And the sounding of human is going to come from those figures of speech and things like that. Something you've never seen done before in AI, and it really makes the words leap off the page and it's such an enjoyable read. I was reading some articles people wrote using this, and I was like, I want to read the rest of the article. And it was on just a boring topic, but it was a fun read, right? That's what literary devices does. And it's not perfect. You gotta, if this matters to you, and you give it a once over, give it a final edit, a final read, but man, it sounds so good when it works well. It really does. Enable lists is going to, at random, again, use a random type of list, a numeric list, a bullet list, a labeled list, all kinds of different lists. Add some variation to your article. Enable FAQ is going to give you a 5-question FAQ section with a build out for each subheading. And that's fixed. You're going to get 5 FAQs. Now, you don't have to use all 5. You can delete one if you want. You can say, I only want one FAQ question. You pick the best one, you delete the rest. I'd rather have more output, because we're talking pennies here for generation. I'd rather have more output and then delete what I don't want. The tease is a really magical feature that is going to help your entire article flow. It's going to feel like magic when you're reading it. You'll find, and this kind of adds another paragraph to each subsection, but what's going to happen is it will try its best to like create a physical barrier. The last paragraph for that section might be, in addition to creating a physical barrier, you should also learn to place soap bars near outdoor plants. Hey, let's talk about that now. And then it transitions into this next subsection and talks about placing soap bars near outdoor plants. So you get a beautiful flow. And again, you might have to edit it. You got to check this stuff over, but it sounds so nice. Boost chance of detection as real. Some people put a lot of weight in whether or not an AI detector, or at least one on the market, can detect this as being written by AI. I'm impartial. I don't really have an opinion on that. But if you want to boost your chance of being detected as real, you can select it. It has usually very little negative impact on the quality, like the readability of the article, but sometimes it can affect it, but usually it doesn't. So there's not much harm in selecting that, in my opinion. Audience personality, I'm going to have to do a whole video about this one. But this is not the tone of voice. This is the personality of the audience. So using our baby example again, if you're writing an article about babies, then the audience might have a caregiver personality. They're very I'm stereotyping here, okay? There's a lot of other caring individuals too, not just people that have babies, right? Or dog owners. Maybe I'm writing a dog article for dog owners. They could be very caring. And so it's going to subconsciously try to address that personality trait of the reader as it writes. Now, maybe you want to write for an outlaw personality, which is more a biker, a tough kind of mentality, that you select outlaw. And there's a whole like website that kind of translates these all from a practical standpoint that I'll do a video about. But you can look for these, just search these particular keywords on the internet, and you'll see how they translate to different personalities. Okay. Now, this is really cool. Write in the style of. So you can say, write in the style of Al Capone or your favorite author, or it doesn't even have to be a person. It can just be of a college student or whatever. You can get experimental with this. But as you experiment with it, you might not want to experiment on a full 15 subheading article. You might want to just do one subheading and see how it sounds. Okay, that can save you a lot of money for your generation. Okay. These two right here, we'll talk about these and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes over here. You can output the content to a different language, but your mileage is going to vary on that, and it's going to cost 2 to 3 times more tokens. And then finally, the best of two, OpenAI will do 2 generations on the back end. Then OpenAI will pick the best result. Okay, so for each subsection, it's going to generate the answer twice, and then it, not you, it will pick the best result, or the result it feels is the best, and then send it back. So it basically makes the article cost twice as much. If this is a money article, maybe that's important to you. It's not a big deal. Now, this is where we really have some fun right here. So this is the SEO keyword. So just like the concept of when we looked at these headings, we're going to look at, in the topics tab, at our keywords. Now, the input only takes up to 150 keywords, but it's not going to count single words. So it's going to filter those out. You don't have to worry about including short tails. Do you have 180 keywords? Then you might want, or 200 keywords, then you might want to go through and delete your short tails and make sure that you've selected the best long tails. Because what's going to happen is, let me just copy this and I'll tell you. So we're good. We have 110 and there's some short tails in here. So maybe we have 90, let's say 90 keywords. We'll take all this stuff and I'll go back to BlogWriter and I'll paste it in. So let's say, excluding the short tails in here, we have about 90 keywords. Now we have 15 subheadings. So I want to spread these keywords out amongst those 15 subheadings. So I'm going to say, okay, how does 90 go into 15? Well, let's tell the AI, we want for the AI to try to put 6 keywords in each subsection. Now, there's some very important points I need to tell you right now. The AI is only going to use one of these keywords one time. It could use it more, but we're only going to prompt it to use the word vegetable garden one time. So I guarantee it's going to use the word vegetable garden more than once. But we're only going to say, hey, by the way, AI, I want you to incorporate the word or the phrase vegetable garden into this particular subheading. So once a phrase is used, it's filtered out. Now, it could be used again, like I said, but we're not telling it to use it again. The AI is just deciding on its own to use it again. That's the first point. The second point is that the AI is not going to just go down this list and shove the first 6 into this subheading, the next 6 into this subheading. It's going to use AI to determine where these things go. Now, is it perfect? No. GPT-3 is very powerful. It's like a hammer sometimes, and it can just hammer those square pegs into those circle holes. So if you put in the words stinky socks and banana peels and things like that, it will use those keywords in somewhere in here. And so somewhere it will talk about stinky, place a bar of soap. Hey, if you have some stinky socks that that you're washing with a bar of soap, and you once you're done washing them, you could take that bar of soap and put it near your outdoor plants. So it will try its best to use all the keywords you give it. That's why it's very imperative that you make sure these keywords in here make sense. You start putting in keywords that don't make sense, and the AI is going to start hammering those square pegs in those round holes. So that's another very important factor. So we only prompt the AI to use the keyword one time, and then we want to be very careful that we're selecting keywords that make sense. I think that covers everything. Now let's generate our article, and I'll speed up the video, and then at the end we'll paste it in and see what we get. Okay, our article is now done. We have 15,000 tokens spent on 4,700 words. It cost me about 30 cents to generate. And before I close this window, I want to confirm that it is in fact stored in the directory. It tries its best to store it to write to a file. Let's open it up. Yes, just finished 11:12. Perfect. Okay, so we'll successfully close this. Now, what I'm going to do is there is a website called All Docs, and there's probably other maybe just as good or better solutions out there, but this is one I found. It seems to work really good. The formatting for the output here is in Markdown. Now, if you don't know what Markdown is, it has these little hash marks right here. What we can do is we can take this this text document and copy it here, and then it converts it to a doc, like a Microsoft Word doc. Then we take this, we open it up, and now what it's done is it's taken all those headings, those H2s and H3s that were not H2s and H3s, but were prefaced with these hash marks and converted them to actual H2s and H3s. We can take all this content now, go back to Frase or Surfer, and we can paste it in, okay? There we go. We'll take out our title and this stuff up here. Now everything is an actual H2 or an H3. Now here's the moment of truth. We did everything that we were supposed to do. We filtered out our headings. We chose headings that were a marriage between SEO and AI. We double checked our keywords. We included the ones that were recommended. We made sure that the SERP was all talking about this. So now what we'll do is we'll click on the optimize and see how we scored. 100%, 100%, according to what Frase determines as being an optimized article. We can click on the heat map over here and look at how we fare to the competition. Now you'll notice there are some keywords that are missing. So as an example, fishing line trick. So only one of the SERP results talked about that. So would it be important for us to include that into our article? No one else talked about that. Probably not. If only one of the references talked about that, it probably would not be important. Some of the results that are higher on here though, deer deterrent. Okay, so we have not used the phrase deer deterrent, but 4 sources have. That might be a more important long tail to then incorporate into our article. What should you do? There's really no cut and dry answer, but I think the focus should be on what is going to help best answer the searcher's intent. Is using the phrase deer deterrent and then expounding upon that somehow going to help answer the question. Google wants us to write for humans and not for search engines, which is ironic because, who's grading whether or not you're writing for a search engine? A search engine. Okay, you don't want to be like the baking stereotypical example where you want to find a recipe for cookies and you have to scroll through 5,000 words on the author's history of growing up and learning how to bake cookies from their grandma. That doesn't help the user. It's not a good user experience. I'm a firm believer in providing the best user experience possible. So if it's an answer that you can provide right off the bat, provide it right off the bat, and then get more into the details. Now, this type of article right here is more of a listicle type of article. You're going to have each heading is going to be a different way. How do you keep deer out of your garden? Choose deer-resistant plants. Create a physical barrier. Place a bar of soap near outdoor plants. So deer deterrent is not necessarily another way. It's just something that might be discussed within here. You could put it in, but you might not necessarily need to. Now, a double fence, that might be important. 4 references talked about a double fence. So maybe in our physical barrier thing, we want to talk about a double fence as an example. Luckily in Frase, we can click on the result and see what they're talking about in regards to double fence. So it just depends on whether or not this is good enough or you need to keep going. But again, my mentality is give them the best user experience possible. And then if they want more, offer that more down below. Okay. So now let's go to Surfer and we'll check our score in that program. So we'll delete this whole thing. Actually, you have to put the title. If you don't put the title in, watch, I'm going to put the title in. You get a lot of points for that. How to keep deer out of your garden. Okay. Get two points. Maybe I got to capitalize the rest. Out of your garden. Nope, 2 points. All right. I did one article and I thought I got a lot more. We'll take it and we'll paste it in and see what we get. 61% optimized. Okay. And some of that can be maybe because we used something too much, or maybe because we didn't use it enough. So we can go through here and use it some more. Now, the nice thing about ZimmWriter is you can go through here with it and add more stuff to it. As an example, deter deer. We've used 3 to 4 times, currently used 10. Oh, we've used it too much, so we got to dial it down. Does it tell us? I'm not I don't use SERP a lot. Does it tell us where we use it? It would be nice if it told us. I could highlight it and find it, and then dial it down a little bit. Deer resistant. We've only used this 3 times. We need to use it 6 to 11. So let's see here. We could say this, write a follow-up paragraph about how to, let's do this, or an article about how to keep deer out of your garden. Write a follow-up paragraph about choosing deer garden plants. Use the keyword. What are we going to do? Deer resistant wasn't? Oh yeah, deer. Twice. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll actually go all the way up to the H2 to give it some context. Okay. And we said this is for an article about how to keep deer out of your garden. And then actually let's make some room so we can see where the new content appears. And then I'll click the magic command, and the AI inside of Surfer is going to write some more content that hopefully follows what we want. So now we'll delete this. So deer resistant. So we've gone up a couple times, okay? Choosing deer resistant garden plants is an easy way to keep deer away from your garden without having to resort to chemical spray or physical barriers. You could stop here if you want to, or you can keep optimizing all the way up to 100%. It's totally your call what you want to do, but we've saved a lot of time. We've written this article, we've saved a lot of time. We've gotten a lot further than we could have done without ZimmWriter and without the SEO optimization feature. And now it's up to you with what you want to do with it. Hey, long video. I'm sorry for that, but I wanted to go through everything step by step, show you exactly what to do. I do want to share one last tip with you. You can use this SEO blog writer for non-SEO blog writing, okay? If you just want to write a title in here, how to keep deer out of your garden, and then just write an article about shooting them. If that's your jam, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. And you don't have to put any keywords in here. It won't be an SEO optimized article. You don't have to use it that way. Right? You can just use this to write a single H2 or write 5 H2s and not optimize things. Or you can use this for testing. You want to say, I want to know, what does literary devices even mean? Let me put in 3 headings in here, do a couple generations and see what's actually happening. Or what is, let me do a generation with boosting the chance of detection as real and then not boosting it and seeing what happens. So you can do a lot of testing without actually having to optimize your stuff. I hope that makes sense. So long video, hope you'd enjoyed it. If you have a question, drop a comment down below. If you like the video, drop a comment also. Go to the official group for ZimmWriter and join us. We have a lot of ZimmWriters, and we're calling ourselves ZimmWriters. I think that's what we're calling ourselves right now. Become a ZimmWriter, join us. There are links down below to get this software, take advantage of it before the deals expire. I hope you like this, and give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, share it with your friends. Good luck with your content generation, and I'll talk to you later.